Today we're going to be talking about parallel and perpendicular equations. Parallel lines are lines in a plane that are always the same distance apart. They never intersect and they have the same slope. That is what is important to us, is that we know they have the same slope. If we look at the picture, we can see the pictures of parallel lines. They're never going to intersect because if they have the same slope, that means they're moving at the same rate. So when we're finding the slopes of parallel lines, we want to find the slope of the original line, and then our parallel slope is going to be the same. So in this first example, we have y equals negative 7 over 2x. My slope is the negative 7 over 2. So that means my parallel slope would also be negative 7 over 2. In this second one, my slope is negative 8, which means my parallel slope is also negative 8. And then in my third one, my slope is 3/5, which means my parallel slope is also going to be 3/5. So parallel lines have the same slope. If my equation is written in standard form, the first thing I have to do is change it to slope-intercept form. So I want to change it so y is by itself. I would subtract 5x from both sides, and that will give me negative 3y equals negative 5x plus 6. Then I'm going to divide everything by negative 3. And I'll be left with y equals negative 5 over negative 3 simplifies to positive 5/3 x minus 2. Now the slope of my line is 5/3. That's our original line. So if I was talking about a parallel line, the slope would be the same of 5/3. On the second one, same thing. We're going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I'm left with negative y equals negative 3x minus 4. I'll divide all of them by a negative 1. And I have y equals 3x plus 4. The slope of my original line is positive 3, which means my parallel slope is also 3. Writing equations of parallel lines, we're going to do the same thing we do when we write equations of any line. We're going to use our y equals mx plus b, but this time we need to make sure we're paying attention to the slope that we need. So in this problem, it says write the equation of a line that is parallel to y equals 3x plus 6 and passes through the point negative 1, 0. So basically what they're saying is on my coordinate plane, my first line, y equals 3x plus 6. That would be somewhere on my graph like this. We are going to be writing a parallel line that's passing through the point negative 1, 0. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to write the equation for this other line that would be running parallel to it. So the first thing I need is my parallel slope. If I look at my original equation, my original slope is 3, which means my parallel slope is also going to be 3. And now I know it's passing through the point negative 1, 0, and that is my x and my y. To write the equation of a line, I'm going to plug into y equals mx plus b. My y value is 0, my m is 3, my x is negative 1, and then I have plus b. First thing we do to solve is multiply. So I have 0 equals negative 3 plus b. So then I'm going to add 3 to both sides, which would give me a 3. Now, when I go to write my final answer, remember we were writing the parallel equation. So that means I need my parallel slope and I need my y-intercept. And that's going to be my m and my b. My final answer would say y equals 3x plus 3. This example, it says, write an equation of a line passing through the point 4, -3, and it's parallel to 7x plus 4y is equal to 4. We see it's parallel and it's going through 7x plus 4y equals 4. This time my equation is in standard form, so I need to take my equation and change it to slope-intercept form so that I can find the slope. First, I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides, and that will give me 4y is equal to -7x plus 4. Then I'm going to divide everything by 4, and I have y equals -7 over 4x plus 1. So I can look at my equation and I can see my original slope is -7 over 4. My parallel slope is also -7 over 4, and it's passing through the point 4, -3, which is my x and my y. I'm going to substitute into y equals mx plus b so that I can solve for my y-intercept. I have -3 equals -7 over 4 times 4 plus b. When the numerator and whole number match, they just simplify into a 1. So I'm left with -3 equals -7 plus b. So then I'll be adding 7 to both sides, and 4 is equal to b. When I'm writing my final answer, I need my m and my b. So my equation will say y equals -7 over 4x plus 4. With perpendicular lines do intersect and they form right angles. Their slopes are opposite reciprocals. So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals for the slope. So that tells me two things. Opposite tells me that I need to change the sign. And the reciprocal tells me that I need to flip the number. If I look at my first example, y equals -7 over 2x minus 4. My original slope is -7 over 2. My perpendicular slope, I'm going to change the sign, so now it's going to be a positive number, and then I'm going to flip it over, so it would be 2 over 7. My second example, y equals -8x plus 4. -8 was my original slope. Now my perpendicular slope, negative is now going to change positive, and be careful with the whole numbers. They're over a 1 that we don't write, so when we flip it over, it's still changing to 1 over 8. And then for the last one, we're getting 3/5 for the slope. So when I change my sign, it's going to be a negative, and then I flip my number 5/3. If we're given the equation in standard form, we're still doing the same thing. We're going to get y by itself first. We'll divide by -3. We have y equals 5/3 x plus 2. I'm going to look at my equation and find my original slope, which is 5/3. So then my perpendicular slope, I'm changing the sign, which would be negative, and I'm flipping the number, 3/5. Second one, we would be doing the same thing. We have to get y by itself first. Subtract 3x from both sides. And we have negative y equals negative 3x minus 4. And then we would have to divide everything by a negative 1. Y equals 3x plus 4. My original slope is positive 3. So my perpendicular slope, I'm changing the sign, making it negative. Remember, that is over a 1. So when I flip it over, it should be negative 1/3. To write the equation of a line perpendicular, we're going to do the same thing that we were doing with parallel. The only thing is I have to make it a perpendicular slope. So we're going to look at our original equation, y equals 3x plus 6. It's passing through the point negative 6, 0. So my original slope in this equation is 3. That means my perpendicular slope would have been negative 1/3. And it's passing through the point negative 6, 0. Which is my x and my y. To write the equation of a line, we're going to plug into y equals mx plus b. Our y value is 0, our m is negative 1/3, our x is negative 6, and b is what we are solving for. If you need to come to the side to multiply your fractions, whole numbers go over 1. Top times top would be 6, bottom times bottom is 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Then the last thing we would do is subtract 2 from both sides. That would give me negative 2 equals b. Remember, to write our final answer, the two things that are important to us are the m, the perpendicular m, and the b, which will replace my m and my b. So my answer would say y equals negative 1/3 x minus 2. And then if we're given the equation in standard form again, we're going to change it to y equals by moving our x first. Then we're going to divide them all by 7. Looking at my original equation, I can see that my original slope is negative 4/7. So my perpendicular slope is going to be positive 7/4, and it's passing through the point 4, negative 3, which is my x and my y. We're going to go ahead back and plug it into y equals mx plus b. So I have negative 3 equals 7/4 times 4 plus b. Whole number and denominator match, so I have negative 3 equals 7 plus b, and then subtract 7 from both sides, and I get negative 10 equals b. Final answer, the important things to me were my perpendicular slope and my y-intercept. So it should say y equals 7/4x minus 10. So the most important things are to read. Are you finding the parallel slope, which means it will be the same, or the perpendicular, which is the opposite reciprocal, using y equals mx plus b to plug them in.